Welcome to Everything All Right, the literary talk. My guest today is Gillian Harvey, who is joining us from France. Her new novel, A Year at the French Farmhouse, is out now, and it's just such a great title when we long for summer and sunshine. So welcome, Gillian.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
You're so welcome. Tell us a little bit more about The Year at the French Farmhouse.
Thank you. So it's the first of the books that I've written that I've set in France, even though I've lived in the country for 12 years. And I think I was really waiting for an idea that suited my writing style. So I've set other books in the UK. But it's all about Lily, who gets made redundant from work and decides to fulfill her dream. And she thinks her husband's dream of moving to France. Problem is, she finds out he's not really that on board when push comes to shove. And when she's upset, accidentally manages to buy a French farmhouse on eBay and decides to follow her dream through alone. So it's a sort of leap into the unknown for her.
And did you have a similar accident that sort of inspired you to write this book?
Not really. I mean, I've had my online disasters like all of us, like eBay. I think they're probably the biggest surprise I had from eBay was when I ordered a fire screen and it came through the letterbox because it was from a doll's house. So I've made my online mistakes. But no, I mean, although we moved very spontaneously, it was very much a spur of the moment idea that we kind of carried through. So we had that sense of shell shock on arrival and finding out how to sort everything out once we got here.
But let's go way back. How did you get first into writing?
Well, I've always loved writing and obviously started with reading and then always wanted to write a book, but life takes you in a different way sometimes. So I started my career as an English teacher and then it was really the move. I was writing on the side, but obviously I did a few novels. They didn't really get anywhere. I didn't have time, I don't think, to really push them the way that I wanted to and edit them and do all those things. And of course, you're learning and growing up and that sort of thing. And then when we were in France, I did a writing course and started freelancing. And I think that helped me to understand more about my reader when I was writing, which really helped. And so now I freelance more or less full time and write novels as well. So it's worked out well.
And so do you have an agent? How was that for you?
Yeah, I've got a lovely agent called Jer from the Book Bureau, and she's really supportive. And I think that, I mean, finding an agent was really, really tough. And on many, many levels, I thought it's not really the sort of thing that happens to normal people like me. So since then, I've met so many writers who go, oh, I researched my agent so carefully, blah, blah, blah. But I used to just literally open the Writers and Artists yearbook and kind of close my eyes and point because I just never thought that I would get an agent. But over a submission or two, I built up a bit of a rapport with Jer because she's someone who bothered to give me proper feedback, even when she'd given me a rejection. And so it was her I sent my first novel that ended up being published to, Everything is Fine. And that's the one she signed me on. So I think over time, it was just learning. I really liked her manner and I really liked the way that she saw potential in me, even though she felt I wasn't quite there or the book wasn't quite right at the time.
Yes, that's what you're looking for. That's what you hope for. Well done, you.
Yeah.
So for The Year at the French Farmhouse, you obviously live in France. So how did you do research and your plotting? How much of your own life is in there?
I think there's a lot of things that I've come across over the years in France. And I sort of say that really I've been researching it for over a decade. I just didn't know I was just by living here. So I think what I've done is I've taken some of the natural misunderstandings that happen in the language or the culture and I've amplified those. So I've used a lot of my own thoughts and experiences or things that friends have gone through and just really taken them that bit further. So it starts with a grain of reality there. And some of the places that I've written into the book exist in Moutier, a couple of the cafes and restaurants that Lily ends up in, are cafes and restaurants that I really like here. So
And were there hard parts to write as well, or is it all sort of come on bear on wine, excuse the please excuse the cliche.
No, yeah, there were definitely. I mean, it's not an easy ride for her, and I think she's going through this semi breakup where she doesn't really understand why her husband has been saying for 20 years they've been together, yes, we will move, as soon as this happens or as soon as that, and then when it actually becomes a thing, he doesn't want to do it. There's more to that story. And there's something as well about supporting her best friend who has a bit of a health scare. So it really is an up and down time, and she has her struggles, as I guess everyone does when they move somewhere new, to really find herself. But overall, I'd say it's got an optimistic feel, and there is some cheese and wine in there as well.
Yes, no, it definitely has an optimistic feel. That's what struck me. So, who
Mm.
inspires your writing?
I'm not quite sure. I think that just sometimes I have an idea, just the way it comes to me is that I get a picture in my head of a situation, and it'll just, I guess, ping into my head from nowhere, or that's what it feels like. So I think my subconscious is doing some note taking when I'm just getting on with other things. But I'll suddenly get this idea of a quirky kind of moment or an image. And with a year at the French Farmhouse, it was the whole idea of the eBay thing. I think that really sparked off my creativity. So how would she react, and what would she do? And that idea just, I don't really know where it came from, but I was thinking around ideas of novels set in France, wanting to really move my writing there a little bit more, and along it came. So it's one of those strange things that I suppose a flash of inspiration comes along. Sometimes when I look back at writing a couple of years later, I think, I know what inspired that, because in retrospect, you can sometimes see things from your own life, but at the time it feels very spontaneous and just straight from the imagination.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's such a dream for so many to move to France, so that's understandable. Describe us your writing day. Do you have any must-haves?
Not really, no. Basically, just finding the time is my must-have, and as long as I can do that, then the rest comes usually. But if I find that I get my best writing done in the morning. So if I've got something original to write, um, then I really do have to harness the time in the morning, because by the afternoon, I just think that I don't know if it's I'm more tired or my brain's gone for a walk or whatever, but it's more of a editing and tidying up time in the afternoon, I think. So that's it really. I mean, I've got 5 children and other work and things like that. So it really is, when I get that moment where I can sit down, it's a treat, and I feel like I kind of disappear when I write into what I'm doing, which, although it's kind of work, it's also a break at the same time from everyday things. So
5 children. Wow, congratulations. No, well done you. And well done you getting any words to paper. I mean, I've got three. I know
Mm.
what it means. Um,
Well,
what is your top tip for nascent novelists and actually taking the time in the morning if they can?
I think so, yeah, taking the time in the morning, or I guess whatever time that they feel their energy is at its highest. And I definitely think, since I now always write something, if I'm working on a book, I'll write something on it every day, even if it's just a paragraph. Usually it's maybe a few pages or something, but because it's so easy. I used to, when I was writing in the past, around maybe more prescribed hours of a job, I used to lose my thread, and then I've got to read 20,000 words before I can carry the story on. So I think always just keep your head in there. And what's lovely about that is, even if you just write a few hundred words, your brain is kind of fired up, and you'll be washing up, and something will come to you that you have to scribble down. And so I think it's just living in that book until it's complete is what really helps me.
That is true. That is a very, very good tip for anybody out there who wants to be a writer and make a living as an author. So, what is next for you, Gillian?
Well, I'm currently editing my second novel, which is going to be out, I think, in the spring. And it's another one set in France, really sort of championing the idea of female friendship and how women support each other. And it's about a group of women who go to a retreat. They don't all expect to go there. And everything happens.
That sounds very promising. And we've already come to the end of our talk, but of course we're having the 5 faves. So please, just very quickly, without thinking, what's your favorite movie?
Gosh. Okay. Oh, My Best Friend's Wedding.
What's your favorite book?
Pride and Prejudice.
Your favorite music, song, or score?
Yes. I've been listening a lot to Rocket Man by Elton John recently. That's one of my favourites.
That's a fantastic one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Favorite food?
Favourite food? Chocolate, I suppose. Anything chocolate, really. I'm a real sucker for.
And finally, travel destination.
Haven't been there, but I'd love to go to Rome. That's probably next on my wish list once the kids are a bit older.
That is beautiful. So thanks so much for listening and watching Everything All Right. My guest today was Gillian Harvey, and we talked about her current book, oops, A Year at the French Farmhouse. Order it online, or better still, get it at your local independent bookstore. I am Ellen Alpsten, subscribes to Everything All Right, and listen and watch us next week. And thank you so much, Gillian.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.